Have you ever met someone who has no Instagram stories, no tweets, no status updates? And yet, in person, they seem more grounded and self-assured than most people you know? It makes you wonder, what do they know that the rest of us don't? We live in an era where sharing is the default. What you ate, where you traveled, who you're with. If it's not posted, it almost didn't happen. And in this culture of constant visibility, choosing to stay invisible feels almost rebellious. Most people assume that someone without a social media presence must be shy, antisocial, or simply out of touch. But psychology tells a very different story. Research in emotional intelligence and self-concept suggests that the people who feel the least need to broadcast their lives often possess something quietly powerful. A sense of self that doesn't require an audience. This isn't about judging people who post. It's about understanding the ones who don't. First, they don't confuse visibility with value. Most social platforms are designed around one equation. More visibility equals more worth. Likes, shares, followers, they become a scorecard. But digitally invisible individuals have decoupled their self-worth from external metrics. They understand, often intuitively, that being seen is not the same as being significant. Their value system is internal, not algorithmic. Second, they prefer experience over performance. There's a psychological concept called self-presentation theory. The idea that people carefully manage how they appear to others. Social media amplifies this tenfold. Every photo becomes a performance. Every caption becomes a script. People who opt out of this aren't avoiding life. They're doing the opposite. They're living it without the pressure of packaging it. They eat the meal, they watch the sunset, and then they simply move on. No filter required. Third, they protect their emotional energy. This is a point most people overlook. Social media isn't just a time drain, it's an emotional drain. The comparison, the judgment, the subtle anxiety of wondering how a post will be received, it all costs something. Digitally invisible people have recognized this cost, and they've decided, consciously or not, that their peace is not worth trading for engagement. Fourth, they validate themselves from within. In psychology, there's a distinction between intrinsic and extrinsic validation. Extrinsic validation comes from outside. Compliments, likes, approval. Intrinsic validation comes from within. A quiet knowing that you are enough without evidence from others. People who don't post regularly tend to lean heavily on the intrinsic side. They don't need a comment section to feel confident about a decision. They don't need applause to feel proud of an achievement. The approval already lives inside them. Fifth, they have strong boundaries with attention. Not everyone who avoids social media is hiding. Many are simply protecting their boundaries. They understand that the more access you give people into your life, the more opinions, energy, and noise you invite in. Digital invisibility for them is not isolation. It's a form of emotional hygiene. Sixth, they understand the paradox of connection. Here's something quietly ironic. People who are always online often feel the most disconnected. And people who rarely post often have the deepest, most meaningful relationships. Because their connections are built on presence, not performance. They call instead of commenting. They show up instead of reacting with an emoji. They choose depth over display. And seventh, they choose peace over proof. Perhaps the most powerful trait of all. They don't feel the need to prove that they're happy, successful, or living well. They simply are. And in a world obsessed with showing, the ability to just be, without needing anyone to witness it, is a rare and quiet form of strength. Not everyone who is silent is struggling. Some of the most emotionally intelligent, self-aware, and psychologically secure people you'll ever meet are the ones you'll never find online. Their absence isn't emptiness, it's fullness, a life so complete, it doesn't need a caption. In a world that constantly asks, "What do you have to show?" they quietly answer, "I have nothing to prove." If this made you reflect, even just a little, consider subscribing. This channel is for those who value understanding themselves and the world a little more deeply. Stay mindful.